You've made it to part 2 of reactions of metals with acids. I hope the first session went well. If you haven't listened to it, I can link it down below. Make sure you go check it out. It covers some really important reactions of metals with acids. But sadly, GCSE Chemistry is a cruel mistress, and there are even more reactions of metals and acids that you need to know about. And that's what we're going to talk through today. So the first thing we're going to talk about is making soluble salts. What does soluble mean? Soluble means it can dissolve in water, and soluble salts occur when we react acids with soluble or insoluble substances like pure metals, metal oxides, metal hydroxides, or metal carbonates. The reactions of all of those are in the previous session, so make sure you have a listen to that to make sure you're up to speed. An example is something like blue copper sulfate, which looks really pretty. You've probably seen it in your chemistry lab. It's the really nice cobalt blue one. And you add black copper oxide to sulfuric acid. So that's an acid plus a metal oxide, which from the previous episode, hopefully you'll remember, makes copper sulfate plus water, copper sulfate being the salt. So soluble is something that dissolves in water, and insoluble is something that does not dissolve in water. So that's the key difference of what we've talked through so far. And just to consolidate, if we react copper oxide with sulfuric acid, we make a salt, copper sulfate, and water also. Okay, so chemistry, no surprises. You need to know some practicals. And one of the key practicals is separating mixtures. And you need to be able to produce a dry sample of a soluble salt from an insoluble oxide or carbonate. Little tip, ions that contain silver, mercury, or lead, so silver is Ag, mercury is Hg, lead is Pb, those salts are all insoluble. So just a good thing to look out for, and a handy tip hopefully to remember. Right, but to separate out salts, we will have you'll warm an acid using a Bunsen burner, and you will add an insoluble salt and stir it until no more reacts. Then what we need to do, you have to filter the solution to remove the excess insoluble solid. And this leaves a solution of a salt dissolved in water. Subsequently, we need to do a cute little bit of crystallization, and we heat the solution in an evaporating basin above a beaker of water. And that's basically a water bath, and we leave that water bath gently heating, and we have to then leave the solution to cool and allow more water to evaporate. If you do this in your science lab, you normally have to leave it overnight or for a few days. And as the water evaporates, the solution will become more concentrated and the salt will begin to crystallize. So to separate an undissolved solid from a liquid, we use filtration. And then we just run through that process of forming the crystal. So heating in a water basin, and then leaving the rest of the water to evaporate to produce a salt. So there are lots of different separation techniques. So we've gone over filtration and crystallization. But if you have a mixture of liquids, what are we going to do? One thing we can do is simple distillation, which can be used to produce stuff like vodka. So it'll be like, or like other spirits, stuff like that. And to get greater purity, it'll be like triple distilled and that kind of stuff. If you have a mixture of liquids, we use fractional distillation. So that's going to be covered in the organic chemistry, alkanes and alkenes unit. Really, really important. Mixture of dissolved solid, we use chromatography. That's normally quite pretty. You can do it with like a black felt tip, and then you put water on it, and like all the colors will like separate out and look cute like a little rainbow. So let's have a quick review. Do you remember the name for something that dissolves in water? That's going to be a soluble salt. Bam. And crystallization, do you remember what that does? It separates a soluble or dissolved solid from the solute.
Did you know that you can make your very own copper 2 sulfate crystals?
and crystallization. Let's do a quick review of that. We have our solution, which has the dissolved salt in it, and we make a water bath by putting in Bunsen burner underneath. We heat it, water starts to dissolve, the water will then evaporate, and the crystals will form. Amazing. Quick as that. We've covered all of the reactions of metals and acids you need to know. So again, hope that was useful. Please comment, let me know what you think. Make sure you check out Seneca's website and consolidate what we've gone over by clicking through the modules. All of them are specific to your exam board. They're specific for GCSE. So really, really good way to make sure this knowledge sticks. You need to go over something at least 3 times before it sticks. So hope this was useful and catch you in the next session. Cheers.